I'm with Paul Keys from Walk Through the Bible. Now, Paul, what is Walk Through the Bible?
We're an organization. In fact, we're a number of organizations in different countries who connect together, teaching people the big picture of the Bible, just to try and make the storyline come to life so that people read their Bibles more often and more effectively.
When was it started and why was it started?
It was started in the 1970s by an American called Bruce. And Bruce was a Bible college lecturer in Texas. And he said his students were coming in, and even though they were in their kind of late teens, early 20s, he was trying to get them to understand the message behind the words. And then he found out they'd never read the words. So he said it would be a great place to start by giving people a big picture. So he started to teach the big picture. And when these folks left their Bible college and went and started their own churches or went and got their own jobs, they then called Bruce and said, would you come and teach our people what you taught us when we were students? So yeah, it started in the 70s as an academic exercise, I guess, but ended up being a big network of people. I think there are 40 or 50,000 of us now who teach all over the world.
So, what
Yeah,
do you do
great.
today? Where do you go? Where do you visit?
We visit. It depends, I guess. It depends on where we are in the world. So my job is really just for this western part of Europe, and there are maybe 1,000 of us in countries across the UK and Sweden, Netherlands, Norway. We go. I would say most of us in Western Europe, we spend most of our time teaching children, little children in primary schools, the story of the Bible because they've never heard it before. But if you went to other countries where we're thriving at the minute, maybe India or Ukraine or, other places around the world, they would probably tell you that they teach more adults than children. So, yeah, we're different depending on where you find us in the world.
Is it easy getting into the schools in the UK?
Yeah, I think historically it's been relatively straightforward because we still teach religious education here. There is a syllabus that says you must teach about the Christian faith, but it also says you must teach about the Islamic faith and about Judaism and about a number of others too. But teachers, understandably, would find a challenge in that. It means they have to know a lot of material. So when we volunteer to go into schools and teach their Christianity part for them, they usually welcome us with open arms. But I think of late, it feels like there are decisions being made to try to reduce the amount of religious education in schools. So we're concerned and praying into that the doors will stay open for years to come.
Is it very important helping the children understand the Bible, especially for later on in life?
Well, I think it is, but I think it's also hugely important for us to have these conversations with people of faith, trying to understand what the difference is between people of different faiths and people of no faith. We have a very mixed society over here in the UK, so it's so key that children get a chance to talk about these things, about things that really matter, rather than just pretending that we're all the same and we have no differences. Let's talk about those differences and those challenges and how we understand the world and our place in it.
Do you also go into churches and youth groups as well?
Yeah, we really do. Sadly, I always look at the statistics and see that we're only 5% teaching in churches and 95% teaching in schools. But the 5% is the bit that I do. It's the bit where we go from church to church to church and encourage people with their Bible reading. But I have to say that over here in the UK, the bigger need is for the work we do in schools. Bible teaching in churches, in many churches, is already excellent. So they appreciate our support, but the teachers in schools are hugely appreciative of our support. So that tends to be where we end up going.
Technology is a big thing today. So are people actually still reading their Bibles?
I don't I don't know whether they read much at all. Most of the
Mm.
conversations I have with friends, when I talk to guys who are at my age and younger, I'm now 50 years old, and I speak to people in their 50s and 40s and 30s. And when you ask them, what book are you reading at the minute? I'm not sure many are reading books anymore. And that seems a real sadness and a real difficulty. So I think reading of Bible is maybe at its lowest ebb for a long time. But I see that as a great opportunity. People are not turned off from the Bible. They just need to be reminded of its strength and its power and its use. And once they see that, they get back in quite quickly. It's like starting a fun new hobby.
One place where the Bible was actually all about is the nation of Israel. Do you do tours to Israel as well?
We do. We've done those for maybe the last 15 or 20 years. My wife and I took over from my father and my mother, who used to do trips to Israel many years ago. So we started coming over in 2005, 2007, and then since 2009, I missed the COVID year, but I've been every other year since. And we just found it the most helpful thing to be able to put pictures to the text. So when we turn up, we get to see and to feel and to smell and to enjoy seeing how the story fits together for ourselves. So yeah, it's been a hugely important part of our journey.
Does that really open up the Bible to the people who are coming?
It really does. And I think the first time I came over in 2005, I came home thinking I'd really enjoyed it, but I didn't ever expect to do it again. And the thing that convinced me to go again was in the next year or two, I read my Bible in a way that I hadn't read it before. And I'd already been teaching for Walk Through the Bible at that point, but I felt like it had a new zeal for me, and it was hugely, hugely helpful. We're actually just next week, so week after next, we're just about to head over on another trip, but we're heading to Turkey next time. So we've started picking up the seven churches, or we've started picking up Paul's missionary journeys, or other biblical lands like Jordan. And yeah, it's become part of our role at Walkthrough, but really part of a hobby that we have to be able to help people and encourage people. And a lot of the folks who are coming with us in a couple of weeks have been on all these previous tours, so they're looking forward to adding more pictures to their biblical understanding.
How many tours have you actually led to Israel?
Well, I was just over in the garden a couple of weeks ago in the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem, and that was my 30th visit. So yeah, we've racked up a few in a fairly short space of time.
You're also a board member of the Garden Tomb. Why did you want to be part of that organization?
Yeah, I was asked by the previous director. He said they were looking for people to join their board who had a heart for the garden, who had a passion to be able to see the garden improve its ability to give witness to the death, the burial, and resurrection of Jesus. And I thought, well, we come here at least once or twice a year. It would be great to be able to be part of that. So I joined the board at the end of 2019. And then I don't think anybody saw what was going to happen next. And in 2020, we've had some challenging years since. But we've also seen just huge blessings in that place of people coming and meeting with Jesus and their lives being transformed.
You were actually the speaker for Good Friday and Easter Sunday. What was that like, just being the speaker on Easter celebration?
Yeah, I was. I have to say, we'd booked a guy to come and do our Easter service, and I was really looking forward to hearing him. And a couple of months before, we could see that the situation in Jerusalem was tricky. Our government are still recommending that we don't travel, and we felt like asking the other guy to come over and do the talk was difficult. So I said I would very happily stand in. And I have to say, for the 2 months running up to that day, I reckon there was maybe 20 minutes that I didn't think about the garden. every day I woke up and I was thinking, what have I done? What am I going to say? How do you tell the story of Easter in a new and fresh way? But it was such a privilege, but such a big step. But I thoroughly enjoyed meeting with, I think there was about 1,200 of us on Resurrection Sunday, and we had a chance to celebrate together. And it was just the most incredible experience.
Garden Tomb is a beautiful place to go to and to visit. But it must be a little bit sad at the moment with the fact that there's lack of a tourist because of the political situation, because of the war that's happening between Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we had a Garden Tomb meeting just yesterday, and we spend so much of our time talking about the the practicalities of having few people there, but we also have to sit and understand that the problems that we have with small numbers of people, and the difficulties that come from that, those problems are of little significance compared to some of the things that other people are going through in the land at the moment. So while we're saddened by the lack of numbers, we're also hugely saddened by the real issues that are in the land and the real problems that are going on at the minute.
I imagine your experiences in Israel, you can take them back to the works that you're doing in the schools.
Oh, absolutely. I spend half my time pretending that every room that we go into is a great big map. And we lay the room out talking about the Sea of Galilee and the Jordan River and the Dead Sea and the Mediterranean and Jerusalem and Bethlehem and Nazareth, and showing people where these things would be within their room. So I feel like there's a little bit of the Holy Land in every talk that we do.
What's the biggest question that people ask you in the schools?
I think children have the most wonderful questions, and their questions usually just begin with, is there a God? Where does dinosaurs fit in? Is this really true? What am I supposed to do about it? Isn't the Bible just made up stories? Those kind of just great, honest questions, the kind of ones that maybe adults shy away from those beautiful, simple questions. But children are always there to bring us back to earth quite quickly.
Why do you do what you do?
I've been asked this a few times, and I think the most honest answer is people are really nice about what we do, and encouragement is a big part of why I keep doing what I do. Every time we go to a church, every time we go to a school, people continue to thank us for the ministry that we give them. And they tell us that it's made a difference with their Bible reading. And I think when you continue to see fruit from the seeds that you've sown, you find yourself thinking, I think I'm in the right place. I feel like this is a good fit for me. And I really enjoy going from place to place to place and encouraging people, and then hearing later that encouragement has provided fruit for those people. So honestly, I think the positivity and the encouragement that comes from that is a big, big part of why I keep doing it 20 years after I started.
What is your prayer finally for Walk Through the Bible and for the Garden Tomb?
Yeah, I think those two would be different prayers. For Walk Through the Bible, we pray that schools won't just continue to be open, but their doors will open wider. We hear from schools that they want help, but we also hear from the government that they're trying to squeeze the curriculum. So we would pray for widening of doors. But for the garden, I mean, we're same as everybody else, same as you. We're praying for peace. We're praying for peace in Jerusalem so that people can come over and encounter Jesus in that place. I think all of us who've been to the garden have sensed that it is a special place. And have felt something and brought it home with us. And we long to be able to do that for hundreds of thousands of people a year again. And we long to be able to do that soon.
Well, Paul, thank you very much for joining us today.
Bless you. Thank you, Paul.